Using Grab every day saves me money. Marunong ako magmaneho, manual or automatic, no problem. Left or right hand drive, check. Small vehicle to van, walang problema. And my car might be old, but she's running just fine. I still enjoy very much driving my Honda CRZ. So why do I use Grab every day? And not only that, nakakatipid pa ako. We'll break down in this video how I use Grab and maybe some of the tips I've picked up can help you also do the math and find out kung mas economical pala kung mag-Grab ka na lang every day. My saving money works for my specific use case, which is hindi ako yung nag-Grab. It's my son, quiet. Shh. Whose preschool is in New Manila, but we live in Makati. Ideally, ako dapat naghahatid sundo sa kanya. Problema, my older daughter also has to go to school. Sa Taguig naman siya. Opposite directions. It just doesn't work out. I do have access to another car, which is just sitting around. So all we need is a driver, and the driver can take my son to school. Realistically, the only function of the driver would be to drive my son. Because when he gets home from school, it's already too late in the day for anybody else to use the driver. Monthly salary for a family driver, 5 days a week, let's say around 18,000. Tapos mga 2,000 a month for gas. So total expenses would be 20,000 per month. So how much has Grab cost me? First, I'm on Grab Unlimited, which is their subscription membership plan, which costs 88 pesos a month. The key benefit to me from Grab Unlimited is you get 38% discounts. Kumbaga, 30 rides na may 8% discount per ride on GrabCar. For me, based on the usual cost of the ride from my house to my son's school, that's roughly a 30 peso discount per trip. So I only need to book 3 trips and bawi ko na yung subscription cost. Grab has helpfully tracked that since August 8 from when I first signed up, and I wrote this script October 3, I have saved 1,351 pesos for being on Grab Unlimited, for which I have only paid 176 pesos, 2 months worth of the subscription. Parang lugi yung Grab dito, and we did reach out to them to ask how their numbers work out. But they haven't gotten back to us at the time of this video. It doesn't make sense. They're the dominant choice for car ride hailing in the Philippines. Wala nang Uber, so they're not in a competition with anyone. Personally, my theory is that they like having a number they can report as subscription earnings, since subscriptions are seen as a more stable revenue stream compared to income generated from rides, which can bounce up and down. Anyway, bottom line, if you take Grab regularly, paying 88 pesos a month for Grab Unlimited, sobrang sulit yun. And if you pay annually, not monthly, the cost per month goes even lower. So, driver option versus Grab option. So far, for the Grab option, I've paid 88 pesos. Based on the actual prices I've paid over 2 months, the average cost of a Grab, one way from my place to my son's school, is 367 pesos. So round trip would be 734 pesos. He needs to go to school 5 days a week, so that's 734 times 5. We get 3,670 per week. And since there are 4 weeks in a month, you multiply 3,670 by 4, you get 14,680. So max per month, I would pay 14,680 to Grab for getting my kid to school versus 20,000 if I used my own car and driver. That's a savings of around 5,200 pesos or so, or more than 25%. In reality, the savings are even more. Kasi, paminsan, walang pasok. Dahil sa ulan, school break, whatever reason. If I had a driver, I would still have to pay him even if my son did not go to school on that day. With Grab, I only need to pay Grab when I need Grab. Sometimes also, I can bring my son to school. But again, in this instance, I would have still had to pay the driver. So in reality, for the month of September, I only paid 10,699 to Grab. Almost a 50% reduction over the 20,000 peso cost of getting my own driver. Aside from the monetary, may advantages din not having to monitor a driver. With your own driver, you have to monitor that he gets to work on time, that he doesn't bump the car, that he drives safe. We did have a family driver in the past. Medyo unreliable siya. In fact, nag-text na lang siya one day na hindi na siya papasok kasi may ibang trabaho na siya. No warning, no advance notice, hindi lang pumasok. Nagkataon, I was out of the country at that time.
Very good. I actually specifically did not mention where I was. I was curious if people could decipher it just from the pictures.
Around the time of this video. So my wife was the one taking care of the kids. Nataranta siya, didn't know what to do. My son ended up missing class that day. Kapal pa ng mukha, after a few months, nag-text ulit siya na pwede ba daw siyang bumalik sa amin as if walang nangyari. Anyway, aside from the driver, you also have to make sure your car has gas and that it's well maintained. Another issue if you don't use Grab. Of course, there are downsides also to using Grab. Paminsan, hindi conducive sa schedule ko when I need to book it, but that's my son's dismissal. I need to book it regardless of where I am or what I'm doing.
The customer won't worry about anything anymore. Sorry, I do need to book a Grab. So for my son to go to school, because I am here in the shop, should I message him? Why are you not moving? Sobrang lapit. Actually, sobrang lapit lang niya sa bahay eh. I don't know why he is not moving. Why is this guy so slow? So I talk often about how I like having Hardware Sugar employees actually do the courier service, so you don't have to rely on third party guys. So like for this one, he's just going super slow to the pickup point because I think he wants me to cancel. And I tried to call him, he's not picking up. He has moved just 300 meters from the initial point where I got him. And yeah, see, this is the problem with third party couriers. Some are really good, and some, for whatever reason, don't want your business. We want your business. That's why we have our in-house guys. Like, yun nga, you don't have to worry about that shit anymore. Like this guy. Now like, sira na araw ko. Because I'm like, what the hell's going on with this guy? He hasn't moved for like the past 10 minutes. Yung initial estimate, 4 minutes to get to the pickup point. In real time. Like, we've been chatting here when I booked it. Mga 10:50 yun. 11:08 na siya. 10:55. 11:08 na siya. And it's like, he hasn't moved. And to save you guys, the customers, the hassle of dealing with unprofessional services. And it's unprofessional, man. You don't want my thing? At least give me the courtesy of sending me a message na, sir, pwede na kayo mag-cancel. Which we will never do to you. So, hang on. I need to book another Grab.
So I booked a Grab while I'm on the back of an angkas in the middle of EDSA. Every Wednesday, I have to stop my class. I teach every Wednesday at the university and give my students a 10-minute break or so I can book a Grab. Sometimes drivers will cancel. Sometimes you get drivers who want you to cancel so they take so long to move to the pickup point. Kung kinontak mo sila, they'll say na flat, nasiraan, kaya hindi sila gumagalaw. Sometimes you get drivers who want to take the Skyway. Buti sana kung sila nagbabayad ng toll. So yes, using Grab is also not hassle-free. But just from a cost standpoint, the Grab option is a lot cheaper than getting a driver. And as I mentioned at the start, these findings work for my use case where a family driver would only have one function. If you can use a driver for other journeys during the day or you can do the journey yourself, then that changes the economics of the scenario. But if the driver would only have one trip per day as his primary function, then Grab comes out a whole lot cheaper. Hopefully, by next year, my son will move to the school of his ate, so our family logistics will be simpler. Till then, I'll be paying 88 pesos a month for Grab Unlimited. Sulit siya for what I needed to do. Thanks for watching.